Instead, plants which don't have an end date, or perennial plants as we call them, P-E-R-E-N-N-I-A-L, they're much more popular. Perennial is an adjective and it can be used for plants, but it can also be used for something which stays around forever. Gardeners by design or by accident are favouring a much less designed or contrived style. If something's contrived, C-O-N-T-R-I-V-E-D, it means a lot of thought's gone into it, a lot of planning. Instead, gardeners are letting the plants grow more as they wish to, letting the plants do their own thing and seed themselves as much as they wish. If a plant self-seeds, that's S-E-E-D, it means it's behaving in a natural way. It drops its seeds and it makes more plants. Many of us are now light touch gardeners. We just lend the garden a helping hand rather than trying to control everything in it. Are you also trying to use less water in your garden? It's good to collect as much as you can, if you've the space, in water butts, that's B-U-T-T. And it means a big container for holding water, hundreds of litres perhaps. I've got a system where if it rains on the roof of my house, the water is collected in pipes and feeds into 2 big water butts. Sometimes there's so little rain that they run out, and I have to use, yes, the dreaded hose pipe. But when there's a rainstorm like there's been the last couple of nights, the water butts are all topped up again, and they will water the pots and the garden for a couple more weeks. Another thing that's changed while I've been gardening, when I started, you were encouraged to dig the soil, that's D-I-G, and even double dig the soil. To dig means that you get a spade, S-P-A-D-E, and you do the really hard work of breaking up the soil, S-O-I-L, and turning it over. But it's been recognised gradually that this breaking up of the soil is not a good thing. It disturbs lots of microorganisms which benefit the soil and the garden. And it destroys creatures, little animals that you want in your garden, like earthworms. Instead, these days we focus on doing things like creating compost. That's C-O-M-P-O-S-T. Compost is really like new soil. Say you collect leaves and maybe your grass cuttings from your lawn, and all that fruit and vegetable waste from your kitchen, like apple cores and potato peelings. Pile it together in a compost heap, that's H-E-A-P, and if you leave it long enough, the worms, earthworms, W-O-R-M-S, they make it into new soil. Rather than double digging, it's much better to put compost on the surface of your garden. That's what's called top dressing. So our gardens in the UK are becoming more sustainable, more organic. Gone for most people are artificial chemicals like pesticides and fertilisers. And our gardens are also much more friendly to wildlife. I'm not quite yet at the point where I encourage butterflies. I don't want caterpillars eating my leaves. I've got enough slugs and snails to do that. A snail, S-N-A-I-L, they have a shell, and if you visit France, as I do sometimes, you eat them with garlic butter. That's a snail. But More often, I meet them in my garden when they're eating things I don't want them to eat. We do encourage birds into our garden though, and there's always food for them. And we see quite a lot of different types. And we also have drinking bowls for hedgehogs. That's Hedgehogs. And badgers and foxes are welcome too, as long as they don't fight with our cats. And by the way, our cats don't often catch animals or birds. They do a lot of looking, but they're rarely successful, which is a good thing. So there's a run-through of my thoughts on gardening in the UK and the gradual changes that I'm making and many other people are making too. Also a bit on the value of gardens. I hope this is nice, relaxed summer listening for you. And if you want to tell us about your garden or your balcony gardening, then please get in touch. Enough for now. Have a lovely day. Speak to you again soon. Goodbye.